the inconvenient truth of the fact that Prime Minister Netanyahu himself saw it in his interest to keep Hamas in control in Gaza. Don't take my word for it. He told us this back in 2019 at a Likud party meeting where he said, and I quote, "Anyone who wants to prevent the creation of a Palestinian state needs to support strengthening Hamas. This is part of our strategy to divide the Palestinians between those in Gaza and those in Judea and Samaria," end quote. Netanyahu. After all, so long as Hamas was in control in Gaza, how could anybody ask Israel to accept a Palestinian state that included Gaza and the West Bank? Good question. So Prime Minister Netanyahu and his extreme right-wing partners have embarked on a concerted strategy to weaken the Palestinian Authority, which recognizes Israel's right to exist, and to strengthen Hamas, which doesn't. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record a piece that appeared in Haaretz in October of last year, a brief history of the Netanyahu-Hamas alliance.
Without objection, and be included in the record.
We also have heard a lot of talk since October 7th about Qatari funds going to Hamas. Ms. Maloney, isn't it true that those funds flowed with the concurrence of Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel?
Yes, that's true.
That is true. So when I hear all my colleagues talk about this Qatari money, please recognize that this was done with the consent and encouragement of Prime Minister Netanyahu. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record an article, CNN article, "Qatar sent millions to Gaza for years, with Israel's backing."
Without objection, be included in the record.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to enter into the record a New York Times article from December of last year entitled "Buying Quiet: Inside the Israeli Plan That Propped Up Hamas." Subheadline: Prime Minister Netanyahu gambled that a strong Hamas, but not too strong, would keep the peace and reduce pressure for a Palestinian state.
Without objection, be included in the record.
And Ms. Maloney, have you also seen the reports about how Prime Minister Netanyahu was informed about various sources of Hamas's monies kept overseas, including some in Turkey, and decided to ignore those warnings?
I've seen those reports.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record a New York Times piece, again from December of last year, headline: Israel found Hamas money machine years ago. Nobody turned it off.
Without objection.